What is up, Sales Nation? Welcome to this YouTube video series on how to deal with procrastination and set great selling habits. If you do everything that we run through in this video series, you're going to find yourself picking up the phone to cold call and do those sales jobs that you hate without any effort whatsoever. It's going to come naturally. You're going to fly through those tasks. We are going to cover why your fears are holding you back, why smiling can help you break through sales procrastination, and a whole lot more. So sit tight and let's jump right into it. The way I like to frame procrastination in the minds of you guys, Sales Nation, listening and watching this is essentially to get you to ponder the scenario of if one of your biggest frustrations in sales is having a prospect procrastinate over whether they should do business with you, how do you expect to be able to help them break through and close, essentially break through their own procrastination if you can't do the same thing? Procrastination stops you from being productive and getting your shit done. It stops them, the prospect, from closing more deals. Don't get this twisted. Procrastination on both doing work and making the decisions is the main reasons why people don't win at life. Procrastination in a sales role is like Sam going forward in time and burning all of future Sam's money. And you know, I get it. It's easy to be distracted by anything. Oh my God, Jack's just posted this hilarious video on Facebook. Maybe you did, but is that video going to be the thing that puts cash in your pocket? Procrastination might not seem like a big deal in that moment. That one video, that call, that doing something else rather than picking up the phone and engaging with your customers. It may not seem like a big deal in the moment, but it's going to have a big impact on your work ethic in the future. So according to recent studies, procrastination affects 20% of the population, and those people find themselves at 92 on their deathbed, having put off all those little tasks that compound over time and turn little things into big, huge events, and they're suffering the worst thing anyone can suffer from, and that is regret. Everyone regrets not achieving their goals in life. And to add insult to injury, things are not going to change anytime soon either. Whether you're old, young, you're a man, you're a woman, dog, cat, whatever it is, shark, things are going to get harder. It's going to be harder to take control, and there's going to be more opportunities for procrastination as we move further into the internet age. If you thought Facebook was hard enough to stay away from, well, try Instagram, try whatever they're going to implant into our brains in the next decade, the next social media platform there. So the sooner you master the ability to get shit done and not procrastinate, the less the constant barrage of beeps, buzzes, smart devices are going to be able to knock you off track. As Thomas Jefferson once said, never put off for tomorrow what you can do today. And in these series of videos, I'm going to show you how to do just that. So you're not alone in this battle because most of the advice that you've been given in the past is just plain wrong. The usual advice to limit procrastination and instill great habits works a little bit. Things like chunking slimmer tasks together or taking regular breaks. These hacks work to a certain extent, but we're going to go far deeper than that in these videos. If you're only going to take one thing away from this whole video and the few more that's coming after this, in most scenarios, more action leads to more deals closed. By eliminating procrastination and just getting more of the same stuff you're doing done over and over and over, you just uncovered your quickest, fastest way to increase the amount of income that you can bring home each month. It's as simple as that. Something else which is important to get straight right off the bat is that you're not putting off this work because you're lazy. This is important to understand. You're putting off this work because you have a fear. And you know, we've all been there, we've all procrastinated, right? By the end of this video, you're going to understand your fear and you're going to make constant action and progress part of your identity. You're going to break out of this vicious cycle of overwhelming pressure, fear of failure, fear of resentment, and of course, just procrastination in general. But first, let's see why we procrastinate in general. Why do we do it? So procrastination is just a method of dealing with the anxiety of starting or finishing a project. It's as simple as that. And it affects all our lives, from when we're revising for exams in school, all the way to the top of the corporate, the business ladder. When I start feeling anxious and my breathing starts getting a bit faster, I just grab the nearest brown paper bag and drink some of the vodka that's inside it. But procrastination specifically for everyone means missed deadlines, missed opportunities, broken relationships, constant lateness, broken promises, and of course the chance of not hitting your sales target. The statistics on procrastination indicate that 40% of people have had financial losses due to their procrastination habits. And you can bet your ass that a whole ton of those people work in sales, and you don't want to end up like them, do you? Now, the weird thing is, procrastination doesn't always stop you hitting your target or your deadline, but it fills the procrastinator with weeks or even years of anxiety as they're heading towards these targets. And this is something that I've suffered from for kind of 6 years old to weeks and months ago until I started doubling down on all of this. Once you smash your procrastination habit, you can hit your target deadlines quicker with less stress on yourself. You might even find that you actually enjoy sales a whole ton more if you're not enjoying it right now in the moment. For a change, we can actually blame our parents for a certain extent of our procrastination habits, at least until we take responsibility and try and beat them. That's right, we've got to beat our habits, not beat our parents. That's not going to do us much good. It's like Philip Larkin said, they fuck you up, your mum and dad. They don't mean to do it, but they do. Often parents call their children special, but then in the next instance, they withhold praise from them because they don't want it to go to their heads. Talk about mixed signals, right? That's not great for a child. So how would you feel if you didn't know whether your mum and dad really thought you were good enough or you're going to be the most successful person that you possibly could be? This process turns kids into adults who are constantly trying to get praise from others. However, and this is where the procrastination comes in, they feel like they're never good enough because they never managed to get praise from their parents. So they're now in this endless loop of trying and trying and trying. So half-assed doing stuff, not doing it fully because they don't want to put their ego on the line. It leads them with this loop that are filled with anxiety. On the one hand, they feel they're special because that's what they were told. But on the other hand, they can't live up to it because they were never praised directly for their good work. This means their standard, the bar that we set for the work that we want to put out into the world, it's too high. Salespeople then start stressing out that their work is not going to be good enough, and so they don't bother starting it. And that is where procrastination comes from. And of course, stress is just another word for the dreaded F word. No, not the rude one, not the one that Gordon Ramsay uses, the F word that I hate even more than that, fear. Now, let me drill this into your mind. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. For example, you're not too lazy to watch the TV, are you? You're not too lazy to watch this video either, right? Heck, shows like Lost, the crazy bastard ass Lost show, that uses more brain power to understand than any sales activity in the short term. And nowadays, there's so much more to distract us. It's not just the TV, it's Instagram. Starting Game of Thrones is amazing. I could stop recording right now and watch that if the final series was out there. It's amazing. So getting distracted is just something that we've got to avoid. So let's get even deeper now into the root of the problem, why we should do it so much. We procrastinate because we've got these inner fears. It's a fear of being imperfect. It's a fear of trying to meet impossible expectations that in reality, they're not even real. We're putting them on ourselves. It's a fear, essentially, of failure. This is even more prevalent in the marketing world. Mary has a fear that if a line isn't perfectly straight on the screen or on the page, or a colour isn't perfect in the marketing materials, then she's just not good at her job. And it gets even more stupid and crazy because Sam, like most sales professionals, isn't even going to show any of this to his customers. He leaves all Mary's artwork in his bag 99% of the time. The fear of failure is an interesting one because it sounds so counterintuitive. An example of a fear of failure is being scared that if we become successful, it means leaving behind something that we currently enjoy, such as our friends or our family. This also means potentially more uncertainty, which some people fear. On a slight side note, successful people, they embrace uncertainty is a key trait that I've seen in all the super successful people I've interviewed on the Salesman podcast. And because we have this fear of failing, we don't get started in the first place. Crazy, right? Procrastinating is the best way to not fail at all. At least then we can try and blame any failure on the fact that we didn't do anything rather than our ego being wrapped up in the work that we did do and it being smashed to pieces. So procrastinating gives us a temporary release from stress. And so over the years we learn this in a positive response, and then we do it more and more often. It becomes a habit whenever a deadline is due. So far we've talked a lot about the why of procrastination, why we do it, how it affects us. Now it's time to actually get into what this title of this video is, how we can beat it, right? Let's do it, come on. It's important to become aware of how you're procrastinating, who you're procrastinating with, and what you're doing when you procrastinate. Your thoughts and beliefs just before and after the procrastination process, and your inner dialogue, thoughts in your head as you go through this, they're all important. Think of it like being a detective. the procrastination is the killer, the victim is wasted time. To break through this, you need to figure out everything you can about the procrastination so you can lock it up behind bars. As Viktor Khan put it, procrastination is an opportunity assassin. Only procrastination really sucks and it's not quite as cool as running around being James Bond. Okay, so far we've discovered how procrastination is poison to work productivity. And we've also discussed what makes those niggling little voices in our head say, put down the phone, stop typing and go and sit on Twitter for 5 hours. However, those niggling little voices aren't always a bad thing. In fact, you can use your inner dialogue, the voice in your head, you can use it to stop yourself looping all these thoughts about you being a victim, and you can build up resistance. You can build up an authority with it. So, the inner voice. When we are given a task to be done, typically we reinforce this command by speaking to ourselves in an authoritative tone. And now, no one, including myself, likes being told what to do, right? You don't like being told what to do, neither does anyone else. So, for example, when I set a deadline to put out a new podcast episode, I might say to myself, I'm going to quote here, I have to get this done, even though I'd rather be watching this, doing that, or doing some other, perhaps important business activity. It must be done right now. Now stop for a second. Imagine if a person came, stood next to you, and said those words right to your face. You'd probably tell them to fuck off, right? However, most people live their whole lives bossing themselves around. And clearly this builds tension, and it's not a healthy place to be. When we talk to ourselves like this, it invokes anxiety because, at a deep level, is reducing our free will and our ability to make choices. So, hopefully, this gives it some context. Because why would you want to waste your energy battling with yourself, battling with this imaginary authority, rather than just starting the task, being polite in your own head, and get on with it? Sounds silly, right? And I've got a feeling this example might add some context for you. When we tell ourselves, I have to go to the dentist, that specific language communicates to our subconscious that we don't really want to go. And so your subconscious starts thinking of ways it can potentially help you. The easiest way to do that is to just sabotage your motivation for getting out there. Your subconscious is on your team, but you're not directing it effectively. This is obviously a no-win scenario, especially if you've got real bad toothache. It's like hanging around with a load of the stupidest people in the world to try and get smarter. Clearly the advice is ditch those idiots and just pick up a damn book. And if we're battling our subconscious like this constantly, we're relying on willpower and discipline to get stuff, of which we only have a finite amount of each day, rather than setting good habits. And so a smarter way to deal with this would perhaps be using language that conveys that you're excited about going to the dentist, because once you get that job out of the way, you don't need to go there for another 12 months. It's solved, its problem's done. Why procrastinate over it when it could just be done and off your plate? You could say to yourself, I choose to go to the dentist today, so I don't have to think about it again for another 12 months. So if you start doing this enough, it becomes instilled as a habit and it becomes autonomous. At that point, you won't even realize that there was any pain in going to the dentist in the first place. Basically, it's putting a positive spin on things and adjusting your thinking in little ways, which will have an amazing effect on your outlook. Psychiatrists use a similar technique called cognitive behavioral therapy, which according to the Royal College of Psychologists is among the most effective solution to dealing with anxiety. And so one of the most effective ways to deal with procrastination in sales and business is, instead of being afraid of your workload, change your outlook about it. Make it a challenge to be overcome. And before you know it, you're going to be excited to go to whatever that dentist project that you're putting off is. We can use specific words and phrases to alter our thinking for better and worse. The other big language pattern that procrastinators use regularly is when they say, I should be doing X, Y, Z. When you use that word should, I don't know why I keep saying that, should, you make yourself a victim. You convey to your subconscious that things should be different, that you don't have any power or control in your life. Similarly, using the term I have to indicates that you're being forced to do something that you don't want to do. A quick hack here is just reframe each of these statements as soon as you recognize that you're saying them in your head, in that internal voice, and turn them into something positive. So, I should becomes I will. I have to becomes I choose to. You're turning authority, you're turning the inner voice going blah, 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 into, oh, I think I will do that thing. And, there's probably a joke about free will in here somewhere, but I choose not to share it. Additionally, we can take this up a notch or two. We need to get pumped up when we say things, we need to move our body, we need to put a smile on our face. There are studies that show that putting a smile on your face, even if it's a fake one, even if you're not feeling it, putting a smile on your face, sucking it up and doing this releases the same neurochemicals as when you're laughing uncontrollably. Your brain doesn't know the difference. In fact, the average person smiles 20 times a day, whereas happy people smile 40 to 50 times a day. Maybe these people are just fake smiling as well. But in turn, you get this kind of feedback loop. They start fake smiling, their brain sees what's going on, releases neurochemicals, and so you get this loop of feeling happier. Why else do you think the Joker seems so happy even when Batman is beating the shit out of him? Smiling. Even facially, plain and simple. I mean, he is also a psychopathic gangster clown. That might have something to do with it. So as well as smiling, it's the same when you move your body excitedly. When you're moving around like this, your brain thinks that it's excited and so it becomes more excited. It's a weird feedback loop, but it's been shown to work. So when you're sitting down to do your work, reframe the words that you're using to turn the negatives, the authorities into a positive, to sell your subconscious and that you actually want to be there. Move your body and get excited and put a big smile on your face and you're going to feel better for it. I'm feeling pumped up just even reading this right now. And I keep banging on about this. In business, in sales, you do not have to be perfect. Most of the time, a piece of work that has been done averagely, but handed in or sent over or emailed to the client or your boss, average work typically is better than a piece of work that's not been handed in at all. So if you're going to do the work anyway, why not force your brain and your subconscious to be happy about it? Why not get it done? Why try and sabotage yourself all the time? As Thomas Paine once said, the real man smiles in trouble, gathers strength from distress, and grows brave by reflection. Smiling in the face of adversity is a sign of inner strength and determination, so embrace the fake smiles. So in conclusion, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've covered what procrastination is, why we do it, and how we do it, and a couple of ways that we can actually potentially overcome it. Are you a procrastinator? Why not leave a message in the comments of any hacks, any tricks that you do to help beat procrastination and get shit done? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click like, subscribe, because there's a series of these videos and there's a couple more coming out in the next few days that carry on the topic of procrastination. And so with that said, I'll speak with you again on here tomorrow.